Oh, that's a little too much. A little too much. There we go. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Make sure I got my volume on. Hello, happy Wednesday. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. Welcome to the channel. I am on at a time I'm not normally on. That's on purpose. I'm using this time to kind of play around and see what makes more sense to come on a little later in the day. I usually would come on at like 12:30 Arizona time. Right now, that's considered Pacific Standard Time. But I've been playing around with starting my lives a little later because it honestly helps me. And I'm trying to gauge, honestly, engagement wise, like what makes sense, what's a good time to go on live, full disclosure. So that's why I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but hey, okay. So today, first of all, welcome back to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. So I talk again, all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. Instead of me just talking, hi Lindsay from SoCal. Hey, how you doing? You get the time. You're on my time. We're on the same time zone right now. So I do have my notes because spoiler, I'm going to be just yapping because I love talking about spells. I love talking about magic, but I'm going to try to keep it in the frame of my point of the video, which is to kind of walk you guys through. Hey, Insky. All right. This is a real-time spellcrafting workshop we're about to do. And I have a bunch of things around, so I'll be demonstrating to some extent certain things. So first thing we want to do, because we're getting into it, we're literally going to be designing and building a spell, hopefully together. So I'll need y'all interaction. So if you want, you can grab at minimum a candle, at bare minimum, just a piece of paper and something to write with, if you want to follow along, at minimum. Okay. But I'm gonna set the tone for us. Let me get comfortable in my chair. I'm gonna set the tone. So first thing I like to do is to set the energy in my space, in the room I'm in the space, or what have you. I want to set the energy. So for some people, maybe it involves making a cup of tea. You're very selective about the type of tea you're drinking. I'm locked in. Cool. I'm glad you're here. So we're going to set the energy. One of the things that I like to do right off, one, I do like to have something to eat for obvious reasons. I'm like, where's my lighter? For obvious reasons. Who wants to be hungry? Unless it fits your purposes of what you're doing, the spell you're doing. But, unless there's some hunger aspect. Look, I don't know what y'all do. Typically, that's not for me. I need food. I need to eat, or at least it, takes me out my mind if my stomach is rumbling, So have something to eat. Don't be thirsty. Have a beverage nearby. Some people complain that, not complain, but say that like spell work is draining or can be draining to them. And if that is you, if that's, which it does happen, have a meal ready to go afterwards. Know you're going to eat something, just some old tricks of the trade. So the door shut. Oh, it's the intake of air. I'm like, why my door shut? Now me getting spooked in my own home. I'm like, this ain't the time, but I guess it is. This is the time. Spirits are coming. Spirits are coming. Anyway, so I'd like to start with incense or burning some herbs. So this is my incense holder. It was gifted to me. I love this thing. This is so cool. I love this. But anyway, so I want to set my tone. And I do this with a lot of things. The other thing, so if you want to have libations of sorts, you want to have something to drink, you want to have something to eat ahead of time, maybe you want to do some breath work. And before you say, why the heck am I doing all these things? That's not how everybody else does it, or I don't do all those things. When we are when we're doing spell work, before, during, after is alignment. That's why. If it works for you, I'm telling you what has worked for me for years. And if you're wondering, well, who am I to say what works and what doesn't? What works for me is I'm talking to you guys in the middle of the day. Y'all figure that out yet? I live in a nice home. I live in a nice area. I drive a nice car. I pretty much buy what I want. I wake up when I want to wake up. I go to sleep when I want to go to sleep. I live a very good life. I go to the doctors, so I have access to keep my health. I have some abilities to travel. I'm, I couldn't travel all the time right now because that's not something I focused on. But I guess if I did, I could. But right now, hence the cottage witch thing. I'm a homebody. I have all the essentials and then some. I have an overflow of many things, and I'm just talking about tangible items, but people usually relate to that. Um, my point is, I did spell work. I live a magical life. I live in a home I manifested. When I first started really coming on to YouTube consistently, I moved to Arizona. I talked about being an eclectic witch, and then I realized I'm actually a cottage witch. Soon as I made that declaration and realized that's my path, I found a cottage. I manifested this home. I was on YouTube before I had this place telling you guys this. You saw the background, it changed. Like, this is something I was putting energy into. This is just like one of the latest things. There's been my finances, to be perfectly honest. I had been sharing how I stopped thinking about a dollar amount, and that released pressure and just said, things come to me, resources. I focused on resources. I live abundantly. Resources. Resources is, oh, a friend of yours invites you on a vacation. Um, Resources are, yeah, you produce something, you create something, you sell something, and yes, you get money, but also you get, maybe a sponsorship or a deal. For instance, I got new glasses because I did a sponsorship earlier this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, things like that. And these are just off the idea. There's probably more. I'm just not thinking about it right now. But spell work is involved in all of this. So I live the life I talk about. I really live a magical life. I really am a witchy woman. So that's why I feel like I can really talk about this. And I've been doing it for a number of years. Um, a number meaning a lot of years. Dang, almost 20 years. So that's why, tangent over, that's who I am. So if you didn't know. All right, so we're going to set the energy. I have that going. One of the things I've been doing lately is I like to take a black candle. It doesn't matter. It could be a tea light. It could be a votive. That's not the point. The point is that the color is black. I don't do anything to it. I don't dress it. The point is, I like to light said black candle, make sure it's in here good. And the whole point is I'm using color magic. We're still just setting a tone. We ain't even do a spell yet. And the whole point is I like to have this going to block out any negativity. Okay, so I have that to the side. It's right here on my desk while I'm talking to you guys. And I have the fan on, so because I'm gonna have smoke going. But now let me open this door so we don't set the smoke alarm off. Yeah. Real life. Real life. So, all right, so we got this going, right? Okay, cool. Incense, herbal blend, or a spray. A black candle to absorb any negative energy, any kind of vibes that might be off from me or the energy. But this is more to do with me than anything. This is to I'm using, again, color magic. So what's coming off of me, if I got any kind of like self-doubt, any negative thoughts, if I've been influenced from other people, I'm carrying energies from others, if I've been out and about, what have you. This is kind of my other way of sort of absorbing. I had talked about this before. I was actually inspired by the book. It's a novel called Black Candle Woman. And they talk about having this massive black candle, but it's connected to magic and power and aloha. For me, I kind of took a little bit of that and I made it my own, and I use this for absorption. So anyway, it absorbs any negative vibes, and it, burn that energy burns into the candle. And as the candle goes down, so does the energy dissipate. And I just keep reusing the same candle. Okay. Obviously, you can do a bath ahead of time if you want to do some sort of spiritual bath, if you want to do like a shower or something like that to physically, yes, and metaphysically cleanse, have at it. All right, you can even smoke cleanse yourself. This is just prep. We're so on prep. So now that we got that out of the way, we got everything set up. I have my notes here, so I can stay on with you. We're going to go into intention next. So every spell starts with clarity. Without intention, a spell is it's really, for most of us, there's going to be some smoke and candles. So with the intention, even the simplest ritual, honestly, it can move things. It shakes the world up a little bit. Think of intention almost as like GPS coordinates for your magic. That's how I like to think about it. That's the whole point. What do you want to happen? It's giving guidance and direction to the universe. And you can have as much detail as you would like, or not as much, depending on what your intention is. If it's simple, I guess you don't need but so much. But this is where I introduce the concept of spells on spells on spells. Here's the thing, and this is a bit of my little workshop series. And I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you were doing something like, I kind of loosely charted out something, home protection. I'm doing a spell for home protection. Well, protection against what? Any negativity, any energy that is not for me. And if that energy is attached to a person coming to do harm to the home, myself, or someone coming in to take something, or to disrupt me living in this home, any person, any entity, that means, negative, what I deem is negative, not what they deem, what I deem is negative. Okay. Also, in order for that to happen, we need to have some prosperity as well, because we need to pay for things. We need to pay for the home so we can continue to live in the home. So this is where the spells on spells comes in. So I would be doing the home protection. That would be my first spell. I would do, so if you're watching this, you're like, okay, so any spell that makes sense for protection, I do that. Then I would also separately, most likely the same day, do a spell for prosperity. Or the first spell is going and I'm adding another layer to the existing spell. How do I do that? It might be using additional herbs. It might be burning the petition to the candle. The candle represents protection. I wrote a petition for prosperity and I'm burning it with the flame of that candle. So that's an additional spell on top. If part of that is, I want peace in my home, I want a peaceful home, that means me too. And all the inhabitants, my plants, my pets, everybody that lives in a home, I want us to feel peaceful. Now I'm adding another layer on top of that. Maybe I have another candle just for peace. Maybe I've created a charm during that same time. You see what I'm saying? I'm at addition. So we're talking protection, prosperity, and peace. And I'm just building. That's how I do things. That's, in because sometimes life doesn't work. I mean, realistically, life doesn't work where I just do the one thing, because I really need all these things to go together. So that's where, a little bit of how my mind thinks. So, what intention should we work today? I'm trying to make this a little interactive. I have ideas of what I could just lead with, but y'all let me know and we can work it out. So, think about what energy you feel called to. So, is it for protection, confidence, healing, creativity? Um, One of the good things about doing this live is we can kind of weave our collective voices into one spell. And you can, you're working it with me, we're working it together. So, does anybody have any suggestions on the intention? I'm already in for protection, but y'all let me know. I'll give it a minute. Give it a second, not a minute, but a second or two. So, what intention should we go with? Should we go with protection, prosperity? Should we go with creativity? What did you say? I'm trying to get more protection for our house. Okay, I like that one. All right. I'm cool with protection. If we let me know. Well, we could start with protection. And then if somebody else comes in and it's something else, that's where we can kind of demonstrate the spells on the spells aspect. Okay. All right. So let me stay to my notes. So um, we could focus on shielding the home and warding off negativity. I like protection because there's so much negativity going around, right? I know, right? Listen, very much so. And honestly, a lot we most listen. If you're not paying attention, good on you. But for those who are, this is a time a lot of us just feel unsafe. Um, because of the soil that our homes are on, and that's American soil. And right now, it just feels like if especially most of my audience are women. I don't care what ethnicity you are. There's obviously an issue with women from, the powers that be, where they would like to kind of change things for us. So that's one thing. Now, if you're in any kind of ethnicity outside of being European, it gets a little even more tricky. So, it's a reason that we might want a little additional protection when we're in our homes, because it's unsafe, right? It feels not that it ever really felt that safe, but it really feels like it now. Okay, so we're gonna go with that. Um, if you were thinking of other things too, by the way, if we did choose prosperity, we would maybe mean attracting opportunities, just to give you guys ideas. If you were thinking attracting opportunities, financial stability, or like wealth flow, and sort of water is going to come in. And I had something ready to go if y'all went with that. Confidence, just in case if anybody wanted it. Calling in boldness. My whole Hot Witch summer series, to me, I would say watch that and it can put you there. But anything boldness that kind of speaks to your truth, step into the spotlight. I would tell you to push yourself, not push yourself, but like get yourself ready, prepare to be in a spotlight, be comfortable with that, or just how to feel more comfortable in your skin. So that's a whole other thing. So, all right, we're going with protection to get started. So now the framework of a layered spell. So here we go. Here's the framework. We're going to start with the candle, and then we're going to use a sigil, and then we're going to talk about the action. And this is the framework. So think of it as a like three threads braided into a cord. Each its own separate magic, but together they're reinforced. So we're gonna start with the candle. This is just for this spell. Do what you want with anything else, but I'm gonna get y'all started. So when I know I'm gonna be messy, like working with a candle and putting oils and things like that on it, I like to just take a piece of foil, and I always have at least a paper towel, to wipe my hands off. So I got something down because I have a desk pad. So I got like an old mouse pad to put on top so I don't ruin it like I normally do with oils and things like that. So here's how I'm starting, I'm going to go with this taper candle. This is red. This is where the color comes in. We talked about the black candle is absorbing negativity. And I got this black candle right in front of me and in front of the screen in case there's somebody watching and, they got a little hate in their heart and they're, sending the opposite of what I'm intending, is going to absorb that too. So there we go. So anyway, you can dress a candle with oils, herbs, what have you. Depending on what we were going to go with, had everything to do with what oils I was going to use. So I have a money oil. This is like a store-bought money oil from a local metaphysical store, or spiritual store, I should say, here in Phoenix. They are a Black-owned company, and this has done wonders for me. So this is the money oil that I like to use recently. Then I like to use Hecate oil. This was also something I purchased off of Etsy. I can't tell y'all from where from because I didn't forgot. But I've talked about this before. I use this sparingly, but I like to have this. These are my oils. If you are a member here on YouTube and you subscribe as a member, I created this divine feminine oil. This divine feminine oil is very powerful, and I use this for a host of things. This is also good for protection as well. And then if we were talking literally anything else that we're manifesting as part of our intention, this is what I call my Samhain oil. This Samhain oil, the whole point of this is it could be used for literally anything. Let's mix her up. So this is what she looks like. So this is my homemade concoction, and blessed with Hecate's energy and so forth, hence the key. But yeah, this is an oil blend that I've created. I'm not going to tell y'all specifically what, don't even get into that with me. But the point is, make your own, get into oils, making yourself, spoiler, avocado is a better base than olive oil, in my opinion. It doesn't go rancid, but this is for manifesting. So whatever my intention is what I'm manifesting. So to me, this becomes an all-purpose oil. So we're going to use this today. So I'm going to dress my candle. And how I do this is you just pour a little bit on let me make this so this pools and not all over my dang on desk. You don't pour a lot, just a little bit. So when I'm pouring, my thoughts are, come on now, be nice. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're pouring. My thoughts are thinking about my intention the whole time. I'm thinking about protection. I'm thinking about all of that. And I just use my fingers and I just make sure, not the wick. Notice I'm keeping my hand up here so the oil doesn't go past there. So, that's how you end up with a crazy flame. And people are like, oh, that means the magic's really working. No, that means you put too much oil on your candle. There's an art to this too. You can go down, you can go up, you can, towards you and all that sort of stuff as well. So we have our oil on our candle. Let me put my cap on. Candles are elements of fire and air combined. They transform in tension with the flame and the smoke. So the color that you use, it's almost like a shortcut to align, like a better word, shortcut to aligning with the energy. For example, green for prosperity, yellow for confidence, and black for banishing. So I'm going to use a red candle today. And I'm going to explain a little bit. I already set it up. That's just some prior wax, but that's okay. So this is, these represent petals, rose petals. They're actually not real rose petals, by the way, but they look like it. But the purpose of me doing that is because love, the love of my space, the love of my peace, the love of my home, love fuels me and is powerful. And love can be turned, that the energy of love could be turned into so many things. My love for my self preservation, my love for my family, my children, my daughter, because we're here. This love, my love, I'd take all y'all out over her. I'll just say that. So if I'm on this like this is how a mother's love essentially. But I'm an Aries. I'm a very loyal person, and if I rock with you, if we together, if we friends, if we cool like that, and I'm saying we're friends, and I see because friend, I don't use that term loosely. Um, I'll do whatever. I'm very loyal. I'll do what, my love knows no bounds. I'll just say that. So I'm using that energy of love because where are you getting energy from to work your spell? It's coming from some place or something. So think about that too. Where's this energy coming from? Mine is love. The love of self-preservation. I want to feel safe at my home. I love my daughter. She's here. I want her to be safe. I love my items in the house. I love my home spirits and I want to preserve that. I want to protect that. So I'm drawing from that energy. So for me, the pink represents, I love that adding an energy. I love, yeah, people think because love, when we think of love, I'm gonna tell you why patriarchy. Tangent alert. Patriarchy because anything that love is most associated, the idea of love is considered almost feminine if you really think about it, and people are only really okay with it when it's to be love to be expressed usually from a woman. So a mother's love, a woman expressing love, or a woman being in love with someone, romantic love and all that. So even friendship with women, they're allowed to be loving and, appear so or express that. Society wise, that's okay, that's a pass. But for men, it's weird if they talk too much about love. They call them simps and all this weird crap. Anyway, that's why. And it's denigrated like love is not powerful. Do y'all know what has been done in the name of love? It's warped as it is. Crazy things have been done in the name of love. So yeah, we're pulling that. That's real energy. All right, moving on. Let me get on track here. So anyway, that's why I'm doing it. Red to me is passion. Red to me is power. Pinks, reds in that family are very powerful colors for me. This is where you can kind of deviate from the correspondence charts. Listen, oh, I'm sorry, I heard a loud noise. I hear, I share that in my books, whether if you have my books of shadows, and you'll definitely see these type of correspondence charts in my witchy activity book coming soon. Um, yeah, I'm working that out right now. It's written. I'm on the business side, getting it published and all that right now. But anyway, um, once you have the basics, then you can expand. You can see it the way you see it. For me, when I think passion and I think love, those are powerful forces. That's what I want to protect my space. And I like to take old saucers and small plates like this, like they've been scratched. I don't use these to eat off of. These were like some IKEA plates. I like to use these for my Spellwork. So I have a set of these that have wax and stuff stained on them. That's okay. That's the point. And that's when I can do stuff like this. So if you have old saucers and plates, you can, it's pretty though. But anyway, yeah, that these are powerful forces. This is protection to me. I also would use this in prosperity work as well. Y'all with me? Okay, so we have our candle dressed. I've been talking, so by now, if you're doing this, you got your candle dressed, right? So I do have a question for y'all before I move to the next thing. What color do you associate with your chosen intention? So my candle is red. A lot of people a little confused about that. I just kind of explained. But are you kind of like that with me? What do you represent? We went with protection. So what color would y'all go with? Well, I think self-preservation. I think of pink and red because those are me. Shoot, I probably even do purple. But anyway, um, all right, I have my notes here, and we're going to get into the next thing, which is the sigil. So we're not lighting the candle yet. We just have it ready to go. We're working it. While we were dressing it, we were thinking, we were aligning our energies with protection. We want to protect the home, protection, right? For protection, either blue or white, usually. I like that. Prosperity is green or gold. See, and gold makes a lot of sense to me. Shoot, I would even do silver if I was talking about prosperity. Coins, gold coins, silver coins. I'm with you. White for protection, gold too. Yeah. It's however you conceive it. This is all, we're going I even have some charms to speak for us as a collective. So y'all getting some of this energy. Okay. So let's talk sigils. The sigils, they're a symbol. They're symbols, obviously, that we create this sort of bypass the logical brain and speak directly to the subconscious. So that's why they work so powerfully. So think of the dollar sign. When you see the dollar sign, the S with the lines go through, when you see that, it bypasses everything. You said you love me. I said, that's what I'm talking about. And you can carve it on your candle in a minute too if you already have it, but if you see where I'm going. But that's why I think they work so powerfully. It's not something you're thinking about. You see it and there's an immediate connection. You know what I mean? On what that represents, what that is, and your belief in the power of that, the meaning of it, and the knowledge of it. So I'm suggesting to you to create something in the same way. When you see that dollar sign, you know what that's about, you know what that means. You don't question it, you don't go deep into you are with it. You know what that is and you align with the energy. Boom. Think of your sigils like that. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more simple. You don't have to get, it can get as complicated as you want. If we're talking home protection, you could do something simple as just drawing a house symbol. But I'm going to talk about it from a step-by-step approach if you wanted to do it, the most popular way. You said, how do you organize yours? I want to keep track of them in a binder, but I guess I'm still trying to work out how I want to arrange them. You can have them in your book. If you are doing something with you said a binder, I would probably do this is one of the, if you are doing a binder, this is one of the cool things. You can section your stuff. I would just have a section for sigils. That's probably the easiest thing. I would get a divider and have a section for sigils. I would date them. I would probably even I would use that entire section with the paper on how I created the sigil as well, like your scratch paper. And then I would have the final form. Like I would use that as a work through. And it would all be in that section of my book. You could also create a book for just sigils with this intention in mind. You're going to be using it to cross out. Let me show you kind of what I did before I started here. I started like on this notebook here, and I just started with this. So I said my intention, which by the way, y'all don't know what I had already wrote, protect the home and its current inhabitants. This was going to be my suggestion. See how we all together? Anyway, in my sigil, I wrote a phrase and I said, my home is my safe place. Okay. The way you do that is you would write out the phrase, my home is my safe place. That says a lot. That statement alone, safe place, that's where I feel safe. What kind of safety? I don't know. Physical safety, energy wise safety, money safety. I'm in my house. I'm safe. You know what I mean? All of it. Okay, so I would write, my home is my safe place. This was my phrase. Remove uh the any repeating letters. I would just cross those out. I get rid of all the vowels as well. Um and then I'm left with IHSFPLC. Now, some people will take it and it just looks like kick, scrap. You could do something like M and Y, H. You can do something, S, uh, and you could say F, and you can make space for the P. L. I feel like the L's already there, and you can do a C. And you have like some kind of chicken scratch or something like that. It don't matter. If this is how you want to do it and it looks something like that, that's cool. But this is what I came up with. This spooky scribbly house out of this phrase. This is what I came up with. You could go with this or you could get with that. You can do whatever you want, but you get my point. Um, but to me, the house symbol made perfect sense to be, all of this. But in to what you were saying, this would be in my section. I would work through it. That way I always know like how I got there. I would keep all my scratch outs and notes in that section. That's me. But anyway, this is a book I got at the local record store. I don't even know who this is. Oh, this is NCT Dream. Oh, I got this free at my local record shop. And it's got these guys on it anyway. So I just use this for everything. You're welcome. I use this for everything. I got so many different notes in here about just random stuff. Anyway, yeah, this is how I would do that. Okay, so I have my sigil. So you have your sigil ready. This is mine. It's gonna be this little house sigil. This is what I did. Um, okay, so now we have our sigil. I'm about this symbol in a minute. Uh I want to just say this one more time. Even if your sigil looks crazy, it's still magic. Don't get into this. See, this is where we can not, this is the real stuff. Stop worrying about aesthetics and all that sort of stuff and just do it the way you want. Am I dripping wax on here? Yeah, I am. Lord of mercy. Let me use a piece of this foil. I'm trying. This desk pad ain't gonna make it. Not with me. I'm gonna blow that out for a minute and lift it up so we don't burn ourselves. Yep, I got black wax on it. Cool, cool, cool. We're gonna relight my black. This is the black candle I did. We're gonna light it back up again. Thanks for the pause for the calls. A little house cleaning. Okay. All right, so we got that going. Uh Action. Remember we were talking about the breed? So I'm just giving you a loose template framework. So spells sort of need a grounding. The action is the physical behavior that seals the deal. So if you wanted prosperity, action might be updating your resume, or opening a savings account. You get what I'm saying? For the confidence, it could be speaking up tomorrow or wearing something bold. So, what action feels right to seal this protection spell for us? There are no wrong answers. Y'all let me know. I'm curious. What do y'all think would be the action uh, that we should do? And again, you can't answer this wrong. It's whatever you think. I'm just curious before I move forward. I'll give y'all a second. If you don't know, it's okay. I'm going to tell you what mine would be. I'm gonna give you some suggestions. A couple of actions going forward. The obvious thing is to secure the home. That's the most mundane thing. Maybe a house with our hands. Okay. Yes. Um, and closing them. Okay. Okay. This is a great opportunity to use sympathetic magic also, or magic where something symbolizes something. So if you have a miniature, if you're into miniatures, which I talked about, and I didn't talk about, well, I have talked about this, but I watched somebody, they have a dollhouse and they were talking about they were doing certain things and the house represents their home. I actually have like it's just a block of wood carved into a house. I keep that outside, and I painted the same color as this home, and it represents it's a level of protection that I have outside as well. Um, yeah. So you could even do something like that. You could start this, and maybe you could, if you were wanting to do some sort of craft or something like that, you could create like I don't know a miniature of the home that you're in. A miniature would be great, almost like a totem doll. Exactly. This would be the opportunity. This would be your chance to do that. If you are the type of person and you want to draw it out, because hey, maybe you don't have that, you're not going to get a miniature dollhouse right now. But let's say you had a piece of paper, you could sketch out your home. This is not about how well you draw or sketch, but you follow me. What about drawing a house on paper? There you go. And then putting your hands around it in the shape of a heart. Same deal. There you go. There you go. So lucky, like you, Lindsay, I have my little sigil. My sigil is the home. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna redraw it, and I have I'm gonna use an index card. Well, this is the white side, this is the line side, this is the index card. So I'm gonna use an index card. I had it ready to go. And I tell you, we're all like united here with this. This is what I was hoping. So this is your time. So if you're still thinking about what does she mean? What action would I do? Do you know after this, if you were just stuck and you're watching this and you're like, I don't know what to do, what she's not really telling me. Let's say you have an alarm in your house. Do you know after you do all this, you can go and just put your like just arm the house for a moment as an act of I'm sealing it. You can take it right off if people gonna be coming in or something like that. You don't want to trip the alarm, but you get what I'm saying. You can do those sort of actions. I would speak a charm when I go to do that. Like if you like, it's all types of things you can do to kind of seal it. When and I'm glad we went with protection, which is honestly what I was going to suggest. Well, I was probably going to just demonstrate it anyway because I wanted to do some kind of protection work. So this is also for my benefit again. But what I would say is any action that you do, this is the time if you wanted to salt your doorstep, that could be your action. Um, if honestly, a thorough cleansing of the house after this would also be another action you can take as well. But we're gonna go with the house. What you said, Lindsay. This is what I'm gonna go with. So this is my sigil anyway. So I'm gonna draw that right now on my little card, index card that I have. My little haphazard but powerful sigil. I'm doing it now. Okay. Okay. So can we cleanse with fire using our same spell work candle? Ooh, yes. Definitely. Well, stay tuned. You could take this sigil, you can carve it onto the candle, which we can do as well. But I wanted to take this and you could do a couple things. Underneath, you could like keep it underneath as the candle burns. And when it's completely, the candle is burned down, you can use your fire safe cauldron and burn this as well. as kind of a final step to align. And then every other action you do, which I'll get to in a moment, will align with the energy of this. But yes, definitely do that. So I have mine here, my sigil. Again, you could carve it. If you're using a glass candle, you could just write your sigil on there. If you're using a tea light, if that's all you have right now, you could take a little something and carve it too. You can even take your nail, especially if you got doing something, and carve a little something on there. That's cool too. We haven't even talked about crystals and all that. We're keeping it simple. Y'all, we could bring in crystals. You can bring in some other things, but more to come. Let me slow down. All right, so we got that. So we know what our action is and everything. So all right, let's do it. So let me, if y'all ready, we'll get into it. Let me get to my notes here so I can definitely stay on task. I've already tangented off several times, but we all with me. Now we're into the spell building for sure. Spell building for sure. So let's breathe a little bit. We're about to do. We're the symbol, and we said we're about to do. So for a moment, close your eyes. I want y'all to breathe in, breathe out. We're just gonna do this 3 times. 3 is my favorite number. We're just getting in the flow. What are we calling in? We're calling in protection. I'm safe. I'm safe in my home. I am safe. Everything in my home is safe. We're calling in that energy, safety. We're calling in abundance and peace in the home. We're calling in positive energy, healthy energy. We're calling in protection. That's the energy we're calling in. In my case, I'm pulling from love. So I'm pulling in, I'm thinking about how I love being able to do my nighttime routine and feel safe. I love being able to take long showers without being paranoid. I love that. I, I love being able to sit outside peacefully. Out back, I'll sit outside in my little 2 piece, and I feel safe to do that in my space of my little property here. I feel safe sitting on my porch. I feel safe. I feel safe parking my car in the driveway. I feel safe. I feel secure in knowing that the bills will be paid and I will continue to enjoy the safety in this home. I feel at peace with the way I have the home decorated. It feeds me. It feeds the energy. I love that. I love my daughter and her being able to grow into her grown womanness in this space. And this is her refuge after going out into the world and being a young woman in her 20s, and being able to come back home and feel safe. And I love that I'm a witch and I help her realize that. I love that. See what I'm doing here? Now, these are outside thoughts I'm sharing, but this is what I'm thinking. This is all based in love, gratitude, all of those good feelings. I'm talking it, but I'm believing it. This is real, right? Okay. So this is what I'm calling it. So you call your thing in. All right. So, as far as the candle is concerned, now we're going to light the candle. If you don't have a candle, let's imagine one burning in front of you if you're watching this, because you can use your mind, you're going in your mind's eye. Okay. So we chose our colors. You see your color candle if you don't have it. The flame is the spark of transformation. It's the universe listening. I'm say it again. The flame is the spark of transformation. It's the universe listening. So I'm going to say something. I have a prepared words here that I did have. Let me turn my, oh, Almost forgot my sigil. I'm putting it underneath. I'm going to burn mine in my cauldron. But remember I told you I'm going to take this? I didn't write the sigil on the candle. I'm putting it underneath the thing. And then I'm going to burn it as the candle goes down. Y'all with me? Cool. That's how I'm doing it. All right. So as I light this, let me get this in the frame so you can see. There we go. So as I light this, by flame we weave, by light we grow, our spell is set, and so it goes, or something like that. But I'll say it again. By flame we weave. Remember we were talking, oh, my fan. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Stay with me. I could probably got to turn the fan off. Let me turn the fan off. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it really is that simple. And I'm glad this is happening because somebody else would have said, I don't think I was supposed to do the spell. Girl, turn the fan off. It's not always. Sometimes it's a sign. Sometimes just turn the dang old fan off. I had the old fan going on. All right. Okay. One more time. By flame we weave. By light we grow. Our spell is set, and so it goes. Okay. So, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add another layer to the spell. Because I told y'all spells on spells on spells. So if this was enough for some people, this would be enough. But did y'all hear some of the stuff I was talking about? I talked about peace, right? I talked about abundance and being able to pay bills in the house. Let me put this away. So in order to make those things happen, we might want to do something else. So we got this beautiful candle going. Guess what I got? Does anybody know what this is? Rose of Jericho. So we want to, or I want to, and I'm just giving y'all a taste. So I got this candle going, and we're going to do a spell on a spell. So I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I want to revive this, and I want this to represent abundance. And what's a good way of thinking of flow? Water, right? So hopefully this is probably not going to be enough to cover, but we're going to get started. When I think of water, water flows, currency, money, right? So speak your intentions to your water as well. So I'm intending for this water to revive this plant as my finances will continue to be revived from the last spell that I did of abundance and prosperity. And more money flows into the house. Money, currency flows, more flows in than flows out. Let me start there. So these are the things that I'm thinking. This is the energy that I want to put into it. So I have a safe abode. I feel safe in it. And in safety, you can create. So in order to create, sometimes we need a little abundance too, for supplies and things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and pour this in with the intention of prosperity. I'll add more water, but y'all picking up what I'm putting down. This is all I had in this cup. Ooh, in this cup. You could speak some further words as well if you want. So what I would do is I will have these on my altar space, and I'm going to have these together because they go together, right? Now, there's another thing. We talked about peace. Remember, we were talking about adding, having peace in the house and all that sort of stuff. So what I like to do is I add an additional layer. This is that extra spell. So now we on spells, on spells, on spells. So this is where my lavender comes into place. I'm going to take a little bit of lavender in my hand. Okay. And I'm just going to sprinkle it around that candle that I'm working. And I'm just sprinkling it around. So now I have these beautiful purple lavender seeds on top of the pretty pink rose petals that represents my love and the energy that the love and the passion. So this red also, I believe, is fast. It makes it faster. Aries here, I like, I have the patience is an issue. It's not the virtue. So this is immediate. So the prosperity work is going to happen immediately. The peace comes in quickly. The protection is happening. This is that's why I didn't want to use no 7-day candle. No, this is happening. This is going on now. As soon as the candle was lit, boom, we're happening. That's where that energy. And if you want, you could have a cinnamon stick or something on the plate as well to represent that. And that does two things: fast and prosperity. But I decided to go with the Rose of Jericho because I'm thinking about, I already do a lot of prosperity work for my home, for myself, and the people who live here. So and also this works for the people who live here too. It's not just for me. Moving this plant around so it can regenerate. Oh, isn't witchcraft fun? I'm gonna add a little more water so it can soak it up, but y'all get it. So yeah, so these are the additional, this is what I'm talking about. I wanted to walk you through the basic framework of spell work, and how you sort of build in all these different elements. And we don't have any written spell. Have y'all noticed that? We don't have a written spell. I had a framework, and I was hoping y'all said protection because I was prepared for that because I want to do it myself. But I was prepared to do prosperity. That's why I had my money oil and stuff like that. We would have did this either way. But technically, we're adding those additional layers. Um, Okay, so again, we talked about the sealing of the spell. If you wanted to close out the spell, I should say, there's a couple ways you can go about doing it. You could have folded your sigil, tucked it away. I did that ahead of time because I have learned in the past, once you light the candle, I don't like lifting plates and doing stuff like that because it could tip over, especially with a tall taper candle. So I already tucked it, but that would be one way you would go about doing it. Um, Honestly, you could declare an action out loud as well. So let's do a unified closing charm to close it out. All right. And y'all share if there's some other action you would do, but I have some words I said for us because we in this together. As one we speak, as one we know. Our magic's done, and thus it flows, bound by will, both near and far. Our spell is sealed, and so it shall start. There we go. So we seal the spell on this end completely, and then we can, of course, like I talked about, the action itself afterwards. And that action is more about aligning. And I just wanted to kind of get you in the headspace of, you cast the spell, so what are you going to do that you can do to make this thing, come in to manifest into reality? Um, Lock your doors. Lock your door. You can go lock your door. Open and close your door and lock it. You can go do that right now. That's kind of symbolizing some action. And then on repeat to make sure you're secure. But you get what I'm saying. Care about your personal safety. All right. For some people, they like to blow out the candle with a word of power. So let's say your intention is not to let this candle blow down. You can snuff it as well. But that could be your seal, and then, light it back up again, and then you snuff it out again every time. That's kind of how you seal it each time if you wanted to keep feeding, especially if you had a 7-day candle, the glass one, that could be your approach to that as well. Yeah. All right. So if you guys wanted to share the part where what you're doing to seal it, let me know. Just saying it makes it even more real, by the way. I'm just saying that. All right. So I'm going to just add this little part to our visualization. So at this time, I just kind of picture seeing the energy we raised flowing outward. Okay. Your sigils glowing. I'm picturing it glowing underneath my plate, like embers, like red embers. It's come alive. Our candles burning. If you're burning a candle with me, if you're watching this on a replay, if you're doing it now, or if it's just in your mind's eye, just see these candles connecting, all these witches, right? And our actions weaving into the fabric of reality, and we're all pulling on this energy. Now, we all summon the energy from some place. It could just be this strong, intense desire for your safety. That's energy. We're pulling on that and we're weaving it together, and it's adding more power. So I'm getting from you, you're taking from me. I'm opening that up, and we're all synced up with the intention of power. I have done my layer of protection. Um, I have multiple things y'all don't know as you're watching me as well, but to keep, negativity, those who mean us ill, anything they attempt to do will not supersede, and it will, they'll feel it 3 times, and we won't keep it real wicked. Like they'll get it back 3 times. Sorry to you if you're watching this and you mean us ill intent. So it's a bunch of witches uniting together, and we weave this together. All right. So we just built a layered spell. The main focus and components were the candle, the sigil, and the action. I just showed you how easy it is, not easy, but without complications, you can add additional elements, because safety was important, protection is important, but I understand the reality that you're going to need funds to pay your bills. You need electricity to be on so your alarm could work. You know what I'm saying? You need the air on so you can feel safer, because you don't feel safe if you're sweating to death in this summer heat. I added the additional lavender to represent peace, and that herb has its own metaphysical properties, and it's just part of it. I came in with the rose petals to represent my love, so I literally built this on the foundation of love, and I'm calling and pulling from that energy to manifest protection over the home. All right. um I would just tell you, don't overcomplicate it, and don't doubt yourself. The magic is already working. We already declared it so. This magic is working. This is happening. So there's not wait and see. It's happening now. It's we're good. We're all good. But I would say try this framework for like on your own this week. Like, swap out your colors, your words, your actions, and just see your results shift. Um, if you love this, I have a suggestion when it comes out. I've been talking about this, but this is the kind of thing that you kind of start to build and learn about with the Witchy Activity book. It has cutouts and prompts to keep building your practice. Also, my books is Shadow, which this is where I'll be writing mine. My books of shadow is a great place to write these things down. Also helps you kind of walk through spells and rituals. You can check this out on Leap Taken. This is my proof copy. More art to come. The published copies are coming, so I won't have this gray bar going across that says "not for sale," but you get it. But this is the final cover, and this is what it's actually going to be looking like. But I did just want to make you guys aware. This is the kind of thing that I go over and I talk about in the book, setting intentions, and building the spell, and a host of other information. But that's all in here as well. So this is the page where you're setting your intention. Step 1: get clear on what you want, connect with that feeling, write your intention, activate the intention, seal it. So like this is the kind of stuff that you're doing. It's not silly. I mean, some of it can feel silly, I guess. I don't know, but it's real work taking place with this book. So anyway, just wanted to kind of plug my stuff a little bit and show you where it all fits in, and kind of get into you understand my thinking and how I build things as well. And if you were watching this in the beginning, I've been quite successful with my spell work. Let me look at these questions. Okay, big question. Cleanse with sage or incense? Can we cleanse with fire using the same? Oh, I didn't see that beforehand. The cleanse with sage or incense. either or. I have some sage that I sometimes like to use. I actually have some loose sage, so sage tea, and they're loose herbs. And that was the other thing. Where is it? Did I bring it over here? Oh yeah. Another thing that I'm gonna do for my last action as well. So I started with my incense to cleanse the space, right? Now I'm going to use, this is a little incense holder. I got this years ago somewhere in North Carolina at a metaphysical store, and I kept it and I love it. So I'm going to burn my vanilla rose um, incense cone. And this is some burning sand. I'm just going to add a little bit of that at the bottom. I've been using this lately. I got this at a local, I shop local, metaphysical store. So anyway, I'm going to use this vanilla rose because vanilla rose is representative of everything that I'm talking about. The vanilla, when I think of a home, I think of vanilla. And I think of peace and happiness and joy in the home, vanilla. Vanilla rose. Rose is associated with love. Love is the basis of everything that I'm building and pulling the energy from. So this is a perfect incense for me and my last final action. And I have a copper plate that I'm going to put this on. And I'm just going to light her up. Let me get her in here. So she's in that sand holding. Yeah. So we're going to light her. Do I assign genders to things? Yeah, I do. Why? I don't know. And it's always a her. Can we say, I don't know. We can get into that later. Anyway, so I'm going to light her. Let her get to a smoke point. Okay. And I can walk around the home with her and, just take more of that energy right now. And I'm just going to, over the space that I've been working in, we're going to just some extra layers. Use your intuition as well. I just had items around me that I knew I might use depending on where we would go with this. All right. So thank you all for sharing your energy with me. This is helpful. This is good. And this is how energy can work, by the way. So, if you want, you can, now that you have these sigils, you can use this when you're cleaning as well. So you know how you like spray on your counters, if you have a spray, your cleaning spray to wipe things off, or the refrigerator, or the bathroom mirror, you can spray your sigil. And that's how you stay aligned, because I talked about staying aligned. So that's one of the ways you can kind of stay in line with the magic that we've done today. Um, if there is a certain color that you're using, you can maybe use those colors on your altar and around your home, just for the purposes of aligning with that. So we talked about gold. So maybe add some additional gold items, and it just reinforces. And that's where we're using sort of color magic and things like that. Draw, if you have colored pencils, colored markers, colored ink pens, um, find the color that you associated and draw the sigil with that as well. And you can keep that in certain places, just a small square, and in, like, I did with the index paper, or something even smaller. And you can tuck that at little points around the house as well. If you're doing some sort of crystal grid or something like that, you can draw that sigil, that symbol, on a piece of paper, large enough for the grid, and create the crystal grid on that piece of paper, and you can keep that up as well. There's a host of different things that you can choose to align with, specifically with the magic that we've done as well. And you can simply walk around and sage the home. And like what I'm doing, I'm using this vanilla rose. It smells divine. It makes me think of peaceful thoughts and love and happy and all that sort of stuff. Vanilla rose, the combination goes crazy, and it's a beautiful scent. So this aromatherapy, as my nose starts to run from the smoke, but anyway, the aromatherapy of all this is another action as well, because it triggers the brain. Excuse me, let me get this from in front of my face. It's so strong. But you picking up what I'm putting down. But I do appreciate you all for your energy today. We just did some magic. Live your actions. Remember, the magic is always with you. You're making this happen. I'm not doing it for you. We're doing this together. And I'll see you guys on Friday for Witchy Review. Let me know if you do this, if, especially on the replay. If you follow along, you can. Well, if you're following on the replay, you can stop and cancel and do all that. One of the reasons my hair smells so good, because I burn so many nice smelling herbs and incense. It stays in my locks. Somebody hugged me. I was like, "Oh, you smell good. Oh, your hair too." I was like, "I know, right?" That's the secret. Being a witch, you can smell good. All right, y'all. I appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the join button. You can join Leap Taken membership. There are wonderful perks like member only videos where if you like something like this, I go even deeper in topics and I share real magic. She's already starting to bloom a little bit. She's starting to come alive. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, Rosa Jericho plant. Get with that too. Anyway, but yeah, hit the join button. Plus, you get deep discounts over at leaptaken.com. Uh, Speaking of, go to my website, leaptaken.com. I do readings. I do mentorships. I do a monthly moon reading service. It's a subscription. You can check that out. So go to the website. And in the meantime, don't forget, I do sell this. I sell this along with some other things. This is the Book of Shadows for the Hearth Witch. I myself am a Hearth Witch / Cottage Witch. And this is coming soon, a witchy activity book. And this can kind of help you grow your practice as a witch as well. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Me and my manifesting oil. We're going to go and do some other magic. And I'll see y'all Friday. Bye.